The dust tasted like rust and regret. Silas gripped the reins tighter, the leather biting into his calloused hands. The sun beat down on Copper Canyon, Arizona territory, relentless as a debt collector. He's been tracking the Reyes gang for 3 days, the heat a constant, simmering threat. Not as dangerous as the men he pursued, but a formidable foe nonetheless. Silas wasn't a lawman, not officially. He was a tracker, a retriever of lost things, cattle, horses, and sometimes men. He's earned a reputation for being quiet, effective, and morally ambiguous. The sheriff paid him well, didn't ask questions, and that suited Silas just fine. He didn't want to be a hero, just a man making a living. The Reyes gang had robbed the stagecoach carrying payroll from Prescott to Copper Canyon a week ago. 5 dead, a significant sum missing, and a town simmering with fear and anger. Sheriff Brody, a man worn thin by the territory's endless troubles, had hired Silas to bring them in, dead or alive. Silas spotted them in a dry wash a mile out from Whale Creek. 6 men clustered around a meter fire, nursing whiskey and counting their spoils. They were rough, desperate, and radiating a dangerous mix of arrogance and paranoia. He recognized the leader, Mateo Reyes, a scar twisting his left eyebrow, a permanent sneer etched on his lips. He dismounted, tying his horse to a scrubby mesquite. The click of his spurs against the parched earth was the only sound louder than the buzzing flies. Mateo looked up, his eyes narrowed, instantly alert. Well, Mateo drawled, his voice thick with suspicion. Looks like we got ourselves a visitor. You lost, stranger? Silas didn't bother with pleasantries. Reyes gang. Sheriff wants a word with you. Mateo let out a harsh laugh. Sheriff can come and get him. We ain't coming willingly. Silas sighed internally. He's expected this. Then I guess I got no choice. He drew his Colt peacemaker, the motion fluid and practiced. The other members of the gang scrambled for their weapons, a chaotic scramble of leather and steel. The first shot cracked through the desert air, followed by a volley of replies. Silas moved with a strange grace, a whirlwind of muscle and steel. He wasn't about flashy gunplay, but about efficiency. He took down 2 men quickly, a precise shot to the chest, then used the terrain to his advantage, dodging and weaving through the wash. The fight was brutal, close quarters, a desperate struggle for survival. Silas felt the sting of a glancing blow to his arm, tasted blood in his mouth. He was outnumbered, but he was also relentless. One by one, the members of the Reyes gang fell. Mateo, seeing his men drop around him, charged at Silas, a knife flashing in his hand. Silas deflected the blow with the butt of his gun, then slammed the Colt against Mateo's temple. The gang leader crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Silas surveyed the scene. 4 men dead, 1 unconscious, and he, bruised and bleeding, was alive. He felt no triumph, only weariness. This was the life he's chosen, a constant cycle of violence and regret. He bound Mateo's hands with rope, then gathered what few supplies the gang had left. The payroll was gone, scattered, likely to disappear into the territory's vastness. He sent a message back to Copper Canyon via a rider, informing Sheriff Brody of the situation. It would be several days before a posse could be organized to transport the prisoners and recover any remaining valuables. Silas sat by the fire, tending to his wounds. The desert night was cool, a stark contrast to the scorching heat of the day. He looked up at the stars, a million distant lights twinkling in the inky blackness. He thought about his past, a life he's desperately tried to escape, a family lost to disease, a betrayal that left him with nothing. He's wandered the territory ever since, seeking redemption, or perhaps just oblivion. A coyote howled in the distance, a mournful sound that echoed his own loneliness. He thought about Clara, a woman he's briefly known in a small town near the border. A smile, a laughter, the brief flicker of hope she sparked within him. He knew he couldn't stay, couldn't risk bringing her into his world of violence and despair. He drifted off to sleep, haunted by dreams of loss and regret. He knew that tomorrow would bring more of the same, more tracking, more fighting, more loneliness. He awoke to the sound of voices. A group of Native Americans, Yavapai, were approaching. They were wary, their hands hovering near their weapons. Silas recognized their leader, a man named Key. They'd crossed paths before, mostly at a distance, a cautious respect between them. Silas, he said, his voice low and measured, "You bring trouble to our land." "I'm just doing my job," Silas replied, his hand instinctively moving toward his gun. "The land remembers," Key said, his eyes fixed on Silas. "It remembers the white man's promises, his lies." "I'm not like that," Silas said, knowing it was a futile defense. "The land does not care what you are," Key said. "It only remembers what you do." He paused, then added, "We know about the payroll. It is scattered, yes, but some of it has found its way to the Lost Canyon." Silas's interest peaked. The Lost Canyon was a legendary place. rumored to be a hidden oasis, a sanctuary for those who sought to escape the territory's harsh realities. "Why tell me this?" Silas asked. "Because," Key replied, "the ones who took the payroll, they're not just thieves. They are followers of a man called Jericho. He seeks to awaken something old, something dangerous." Jericho. Silas had heard the name whispered in saloons, a figure of myth and fear, a man who sought to harness the territory's ancient power, to unleash a force that could shake the foundations of civilization. "He intends to use the gold to fund his rituals," Kay continued, "to summon something from the earth. You must stop him, Silas, for the sake of this land." Silas looked at Key, a flicker of something akin to hope igniting within him. Perhaps there was something more to his life than just tracking and fighting. Perhaps there was a purpose, a chance to redeem himself. "I'll do what I can," Silas said, holstering his gun. He knew that his journey was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The lost canyon awaited, and with it a darkness that threatened to engulf the entire territory. He turned toward the setting sun, the image of Clara and the hope she embodied fueling his resolve. The rust-colored light painted the landscape in hues of both promise and peril. He knew with a certainty that settled deep within his bones that he was walking towards a reckoning.